Hi, everyone. Good evening, everyone. This is Rosette from the Law Office of Vincent Davis and the co-host for Relative Fight CPS. And Monica,
Hi,
introduce yourself, Missy.
I'm from Arizona, and today I wanted to ask Miss Monica if it's okay if we talk about the Michelle Hobson case from Arizona,
Yes,
because
yes.
that was such a big case.
Actually, she was telling me about this like a few minutes ago. By the way, everyone, Mr. Davis cannot be with us tonight because he's on a business trip, and hopefully we'll be able to have him next week on Wednesday. Okay, so Monica, go ahead and tell us about this case, please.
This case was particularly bothersome because there are so many children involved. I think she had 11 to 14 foster children. They didn't even know themselves exactly how many foster children that this lady had. And she made them perform in these videos called Fantastic Adventures. And basically they were her slaves. She punished them by putting them in the green room for hours at a time. They'd have to hold their hands up, and if they didn't perform, this lady, Michelle Hobson, made hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes per month, off the videos that these kids had to do. They were covered in bruises. They had scars all over. 11 times this lady was reported to CPS. Now, they lived in Maricopa, so I'm pretty sure CPS investigated out of the Phoenix area. But they really, every single time, she had an excuse for these kids, and she got away with it for years. Finally, in 2019, her daughter took a couple of the kids to the dentist, and the kids spoke up and said, "We're really being abused." This was her biological daughter. And her biological daughter said, "I've had it with this." She said, the little girl told her, "We never get to go to school. We want to go to school. We don't want to do these videos all the time. She hits us, she punches us, she makes us hold our hands up for hours." Finally, once the daughter called CPS, actually, I think she ended up calling the Maricopa sheriff first. And the sheriff actually came out and did something about it. Now, the sheriff had been out there before to investigate other allegations, but she always got away with it. That
How many
CPS
years?
always unsubstantiated it.
Of course, it's always like that. But how many years has she been getting away with this?
Oh, let me see.
From what year did it start?
I don't know, but I know she had 29 counts total. I don't know what year. Maybe 2011 to 2019, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, she was arrested in 2019.
So basically, she was the foster parent for all these kids.
Yes. She was arrested and charged with child abuse, molestation, unlawful imprisonment, and child neglect. 29 counts total.
And of course, CPS didn't find anything wrong with her.
Previously, the kids had told, she even took them out of their school because they would tell their teachers would tell CPS, and all the allegations would be unsubstantiated, and then she would reprimand the children again. So the kids knew better than they'd been trained not to tell anybody about their abuse. But it wasn't until the biological daughter took one of the kids to the dentist that she finally told her that she felt like she was a prisoner and a slave at this home, and she called the police. And then it got to the Pinal County Attorney's Office, Kent Volkmer, and he actually intervened and did something about it.
Really? It took how many reports for him to intervene?
11.
11 reports?
It took 11 reports to CPS, yes.
See, this is
one of the kids was even hospitalized.
Yeah, this is what gets me. One of the kids was even hospitalized. However, When a mother takes a child to the hospital because she's concerned about her child, they take the child from the mom and say the mom neglected to protect her child, right? Now, if the mother was abusive, why would she take the child to the hospital?
Exactly.
So to me, you don't protect the children from foster parents, but you protect them from their own parents when their parents raise concerns about their own children. See, it's shit like this that makes me wonder about the system every second of every day. Because it doesn't make any sense to me how you're going to have all these reports about a foster mom. So who neglects the children here? It's not
And
the
the
biological
child,
parents. It's not the biological parents.
the little boy said that when he went to the hospital in Mesa, he told them, he said, she pepper sprays us. She was pepper spraying the children to keep them quiet and to keep them calm, because she knew she pulled out the pepper spray that I'll be quiet and get scared and, you know, do whatever
That's
she
what
asked them
abuse
to
you
do.
do. Oftentimes, just to let you know, Monica, oftentimes they give the kids to the abusive father. Okay, if the father is abusive, they give the kids to the abusive father, right? Because of his title or his whatever, right?
His wife's
However,
title.
right. However, the kids are being trained to keep quiet. And if they speak up, and even if they do, remember that guy I was talking to you about today at the other
Yeah.
show?
Yes.
When the kids spoke at school, what happened? The social worker calls the mom and says, "Oh, we received a report, blah, 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 blah," but it was closed, unfounded, right?
Of course, it was
Came from
unsubstantiated.
the children to their teacher, asking their teacher to keep it quiet. Yeah. When the mother went to family law court to get a subpoena the report, you know what the family law judge told the mom?
What?
It's confidential information.
Wow. The biological mother.
It's confidential information, and that judge is sitting as we speak in downtown courthouse on 111 North Hill Street.
Wow.
It's confidential information. You know why? Because she's protecting the father whose wife is a judge. That's our corrupt system. So the kids do cry out. Yeah, the kids do cry out for help, but they're trained that if you cry, you won't see your mom. If you speak up, you're not going to see your mom. If you report, you're going to be punished. If you say anything, we're going to hold you in the room captive with no food. The abuse goes on and on and on. And people wonder, why do we have kids grow up to be criminals, to do drugs? Why? Why do you think? Because you literally jeopardizing these kids. You're putting these kids in harm's way by taking them from their family. All these 11 kids you're talking about, Monica, 11 kids, that's insane.
11.
That's insane. That is insane.
It's crazy.
And she got away with it all those years. And she didn't take the kids to school, or did she?
No, she didn't. She homeschooled.
Oh, so she homeschooled. Okay, wait. She homeschooled.
Yeah, she did.
Homeschooled. Hey, Caressa. She homeschooled 11 kids. But yet I have people calling me, telling me the school reports parents who homeschool their kids. And not one teacher saw something is wrong with these kids.
I'm not sure who it was that called CPS initially.
Hi, Virginia.
It was a neighbor, but nothing happened. It was all unsubstantiated, because when they would come to the home to speak to the children, should already tell them, you better not say anything. You better not say anything. The sad part,
I'm sure they can see in the home, Monica, if the home was even legit for the kids, if something was going on. I would suspect they see it, because they see things that doesn't happen in other people's homes. Apparently they make up stories, right?
apparently.
Apparently, right? So basically, when they go to this lady's home who is a foster parent, they see nothing wrong with the kids. How ironic is that? They are so corrupt. They make me so sick. Like I said today earlier on my show, I said they make me vomit. They literally make me vomit in my mouth. Just hearing the word CPS or just looking at a social worker or hearing what they say. It makes me sick. Rosalie Marie, she said, this is why we need to get educated in the law and become American nationals and free our future generation from the corrupt system. God bless you, Rosalie. I wouldn't have said it better myself. That's perfect right there, baby girl. That's
Yeah, it
exactly
is.
what we need. We need to stand up and protect these kids. Carissa, she said, that's because Child Protective Services lies, as well as the foster mothers. Tell the children what to say, the kids or preferred, and they do what they are told. That is correct.
Of course, because they knew they were going to get sprayed with pepper spray
That
or
is correct.
have to hold their arms up for hours in the green room.
That's correct. Carissa, actually, she's a grandmother. I know her also well. And the foster parent, actually, she has proof that the foster, and I heard it with my own ears. So nobody's gonna tell me otherwise. Told her son in front of her son doing his visit, told the child basically to lie.
Oh my God.
And it's proven. Which the sad part about it is the social workers refuse to do anything about it. Mm-hmm.
Not if they can't admit when they've made a mistake. They can't.
They cannot admit. No, because you cannot force a narcissist to say he's sorry.
No, you cannot.
Would never apologize if his life depends on it. A narcissist will always make excuses rather than take accountability for their own actions. That's what the system is. The system is so corrupt that I guarantee you 100% they only hire narcissistic trait people to handle that type of jobs. There is no way a normal human being can do that type of work. You have to either be an abusive bastard,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be out of your mind to do something like that.
To take a child away from a loving home where they have family members that love them, like mothers and grandmothers. A lot of people get their children taken
That's correct.
just because the social worker is
Doesn't like you.
vindictive and malicious.
Malicious and vindictive. That is
Stop
correct.
nothing to take that child away from your home,
Yeah.
including calling your relatives and telling them you've molested the child's sexually abused, the child was being abused in your home. Get them to call the hotline. They'll stop at nothing. They'll stop at nothing.
Nothing to get what they want. You're absolutely right. I want to read something that Amanda Jean wrote. She said, my son's father's wife has burned him. Okay, so my son's father's wife has burned him 3 times and they won't do anything to her. You know what? I'm sorry, Amanda, but the same thing happened to another lady that I always talk about, that her ex-husband is a firefighter who married the judge, right?
Yeah.
She used to put the kids' hands under hot water when they would cry for their mom.
Oh my God.
And let me tell you something. Social workers don't do anything to the abusive party. They do not protect the kids from the abuser. They do not. And that's the sad truth. That's the sad, sad truth about CPS. So if you bring me a social worker, I swear on the Holy Bible, God help her. God help her. Yeah. I will not even interview one. I refuse.
You know what's sad about this case?
Yeah, I refuse.
This woman died 8 months after they took her into custody. So she never had to stand trial and really become accountable for anything that she did, including sexual abuse, neglect, abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. She was not held accountable for any of it. She died 8 months after the children were taken.
Well, she's actually is getting accountable for her own action, even in
Not
death.
down here, up there, yes.
Well, up there is the worst.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's not actually it's not up there, it's down there. But you know, I look at it this way. Evil exists, okay? And like I mentioned to you before, Monica, I really believe that God judges all. Okay? God is the ultimate judge, all right? I really do believe that whether you get your karma on earth or you get it after you pass, but either way you're going to get yours. Either way you're going to get it. Because you cannot hide forever. You cannot disguise your evilness forever. It's like my mom used to say and my dad, the trash in the sea will always come up to the surface. It will always come up to the surface, no matter what you do. Okay. Mary Rose wrote, I went to my first dependency hearing today. I almost threw up witnessing CYS get on the stand and lie and be proven on the stand to be lying. The judge had his mind made up before he saw us. Go figure. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The judges, Mary, have their minds set, and the social workers have already set up in place what they're going to do. All these classes you guys do, and they say if you're done, you're going to get your reunified with your kids. All this is not true. Not true. Okay? So, they already planned it. They already cooked it up. That's why Mr. Davis on his shows, he constantly reminds the viewers, do not speak to the social workers. Do not open your mouth. You need to get legal representation. It's better to hire an attorney during a CPS investigation because that's when the attorney takes over. Then take upon yourself to just indulge information to the social worker because he or she is not your friend. They're not there to help you or to reunify you with your children.
No.
They're not your friends. You have to understand this. And a lot of people, sometimes they say to me, Georgette, she was nice at first. Well, of course she's nice at first. The devil is not going to come at you with horns and a tail and tells you I'm the devil, right? Am I right? He's not.
I think people think they can appease the social worker and explain things away, and it's not going to work. It is not going to work. It will all be used against you.
Yeah.
All of it.
It's always going to be used against you. Oh, Amanda's back. She said, the stepmom, she said she burned him the 2nd and 3rd degree burns. And then she burned him with a blow dryer to his stomach and left an imprint on his stomach of the blow dryer. And I'm sure the social workers didn't do anything. But if the biological mother, right, the child was injured during playtime, then the biological mother has her children taken from her. But yet the abuser keeps abusing and abusing and abusing and abusing. So the system gives children to the abusers. That's what they do.
They do. These children that were living in this environment in the Hobson home, they're going to have so many problems. I really wish them the best, but I just think that they suffered for so long and so much abuse and neglect. All of them were malnourished, and none of them were over the 5 percentile. 5 percentile. That's very, very low.
That's insane. Like I was telling you, I lost my voice. I've been talking to so many people today that I lost my voice.
It's your third show.
It's my third show.
It's your third show.
I know, but other than the shows, I do talk to people, and their stories is so heartbreaking. And a lot of people are so deceived because you have no idea how many people call me a day, right? They say, Georgette, the social worker was nice. She assured me I'm going to have my kids. Then the social workers changed. Somebody else comes over. And then you're like, what? What happened to the other lady? And then the other one. Like I mentioned today, is like, before you know it, you have 7 different social workers.
And your rights are being
And
terminated.
your rights are being terminated. And each social worker seems to have her point of view, or her, how can I say?
Perspective, right.
It's not even
Agenda.
perspective. It's not even agenda. It's her agenda on the case. Like what's there's always a motive behind somebody's demonic action. Always a motive, right?
Yeah.
How they are. Okay, so Carissa said Georgette is 100% correct on everything she's stating on her show. I support our show 100%. She is exposing the truth. I back her and support her. Thank you so much, Carissa. Mwah. Thank you, honey. But see, people don't understand that you cannot just be deceived by a social worker saying hello to you. Her hello, there's a motive behind that niceness, right?
It's to get information.
Get information from you.
To disarm you.
Right.
They'll disarm you and pretend to be nice, but they're not nice. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to them.
They're not. Listen, what did I say to you today on the show? Earlier, I said I would rather live next to the cartels than live next to a social worker. I really believe me when I tell you this.
I agree.
Because the social workers, to me, are worst type of beings on earth, because they actually kidnap kids from their parents and grandparents
and adopt them out.
What kind of BS is that? Virginia Madrid, she said, my son was abused in foster care and DCS did nothing about it. I have never hurt my kids and I love my kids, and they took them and put them with people who don't care for them. And the people that don't care for them are the same people that get funded for them. But yet they wouldn't help the mother that's struggling to keep a job, right? They're not going to help her, but they're going to take her kids from her and help the other strangers who the kids have no relationship to.
They'll take kids in Arizona because they come to school with, I don't know, dirty clothes, or maybe they're hungry, or their house is cluttered. You don't take a kid for that. You don't take a kid because they go to school with dirty clothes. You help them find out what their needs are. There's helping hands and a lot of organizations out there. Get them some help. Get a sister some help. Don't take their kids. Stop taking their people's children. You're on notice, CPS.
Yes, they are on notice. And people don't understand that there are people working behind the scene to come to bring the truth out. So don't be discouraged. Don't feel like it's don't lose hope. Oh, Carissa, she said, never trust a social worker. They lie. They have all the alternative motives for the child. They do not want to reunify these children with their families. If people just understand that it's corruption and they're making money on these children. Meanwhile, we're incorporating psychologists, special ed, and his kids are growing up with emotional detachment because of the issues that were caused by CPS and foster care parents. I believe if they continue that, somebody should sue the pants off of CPS. Baby girl, CPS was sued in New Jersey for $174 million. And the parents won. That's just a recent lawsuit. Either 174 million or 178 million. One of those two numbers. Okay? In New Jersey. So in New Jersey, what they were doing, just like they do in LA and Arizona and Nevada and Las Vegas, all these people, all these places, I mean, what they did is that they, the parents were visiting New Jersey, okay? They're from LA.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different story. And then they're the ones who told me about this lawsuit in New Jersey when they're there. They were forced to stay in New Jersey because the babysitter they hired from a professional agency, they hired the babysitter to watch both of their kids. So they went out and then they came back, and one of the children was crying a lot, and they didn't know why their 2-year-old was crying so much. They realized that the 2-year-old couldn't move his arm. So they asked the babysitter what happened, and the babysitter was scared to respond, and she ran. So they took the child to the hospital.
Oh my
And
God.
the hospital called DHS and said they beat up the child. Yeah.
They beat up the child, or they were taking the child to the doctor? They're the ones that took him to the doctor.
And those couple, I've known the husband since I was a little girl. My dad used to be a handyman. He was a handyman. And he did some work. My dad did some work for his dad. And that's how I knew him, right? So we became like brother-sister type of relationship, right? When he got married and this happened to him when he went to New Jersey, he called me. He said, I can't believe they're doing this to me and my kids. And he's not an abusive man. He's a good man. He's a good father. And so is his wife. She's a great mother. But they take his kids, put them in the custody of the state in a foster home where the kids were being abused, that to the point where his other child had meningitis. He went to the visit with a fever, and the father is a registered nurse. So he said, something is not right about my son. He can't move his head. He has a fever. He must have meningitis, right? The monitor didn't want to call 911.
Wow.
The fever was 103. She didn't want to call 911, and she told him that if he did, she's going to completely restrict the visitations. He didn't care as a father, called 911, took the child, 911 came. And the social worker said to the 911 paramedic that if he takes the child, that she's going to report him. So the paramedic told her, he said, well, go ahead and do that. He took him to the hospital. Guess what? The child was diagnosed with meningitis.
He probably saved the child's life.
He's doing that right now. He's handling that right now. But all this happened recently. So what I'm trying to tell you is it happens to great parents. Great parents. So why are you doing this? Like to give more funding for the lawsuits that you've been losing? So you can get more funding? So you can make up the money? What is wrong with you people? They are something extremely, I don't even know what to say anymore. I honestly don't know what to say.
Corrupt. It's so corrupt. It is. They will stop at nothing. They will stop at nothing to get your children. They will stop at nothing.
No, they will stop at nothing. And that's why when he told me what happened to him, and he actually has a house in Malibu, him and his wife, and they have to rent a place in New Jersey. Right?
Oh my God.
Because their kids are there. And
does he work?
Yes, but he has his own business now. So he's a registered nurse and he has his own business on the side. So the point I'm trying to make is that man gave up everything just to get his kids back, and it's not even necessary. It's not necessary. They don't have to do this. This is ridiculous. Ryan said, I was given my 2 kids due to mom not stopping. Well, they used everything they can find 2 weeks ago. Now my kids are with their grandmother, and I fear the grandparents are next on the list.
Oh my.
So that means the grandparents, they're going to take the kids from the grandparents. Is that what my understanding from you, Ryan? Not under. Is that what I'm understanding?
I think that's what he's saying.
And Ryan, if that's what you're saying, that is correct. Usually they will hand the kids to family placement, right? So to save themselves from a civil lawsuit, because family comes first, like Mr. Davis says. Then when they put the children in family placement, then they're going to come up with excuses. Oh, the grandmother allowed the dad to come and see the children unsupervised. Or the grandmother allowed, or the grandmother is allowing the father to visit the child at night, right? Now, if you ask them where the proof is, they can't bring it out of their ass. They can't bring it out. What? How? It didn't happen, but they make excuses to make sure the child is removed from the grandmother's house. And oftentimes they make family members be foster licensed. That would be funny if my grandmother, God rest her soul, if she's alive and somebody takes one of her grandkids and make her become a foster parent. She'd be like, what? What is this? Back in the day,
I'm the grandmother. Why do I need to be a foster mother?
Exactly. We're going home to grandma. We're not going home to foster grandma. Grandma. But they're labeling everything. They're putting everything in place to make it a rule, right? So they set rules in place to go against your rights. So they tell grandma, you better be a foster parent to take your grandson, right? Oh. It doesn't make any sense. It's grandma.
They even tried to get my daughter-in-law's 80-year-old grandmother to take in more foster children. She's 80. Her husband's even older. They're 80 years old. They can't even pick a baby up. She can't even bend down to pick up a diaper bag. And that's what they were telling her. I was just shaking my head. I was like, Lord, help us now.
You know, it's sad that you say that, because another client told me that they didn't want to place the children with her mom because her mom was 81. And they told her that her mom is too old. And then you're telling me that
they insisted. They insisted that our grandson's great-grandmother and great-grandfather took him, and they're in their 80s. They can't change a diaper. They can't pick up a diaper bag, nothing. And the baby was a little over a year at the time.
But do you see how deceptive and
yes, how corrupt?
It's disgusting. It's just disgusting. I have no words anymore. I don't even know what to say anymore. I really don't. Ryan also said they did that to me with their mom, and said I supposedly gave them unsupervised visits. See? There you go. Then they go to the judge and say, hey, Your Honor, he failed to protect. Yeah. What did I say earlier today, Monica? I said judges have black robe fever. Black robe fever. Yeah, they do. They have black robe fever. So I have a black shirt on today, right? So I have a black robe fever. So I'm going to be a judge today, and I'm going to judge everybody. That's exactly how they are. I'm going to judge you. I had a bad day. I'm just going to screw you today.
So how do judges that used to work or used to defend CPS, How can you become a fair judge, an honest judge?
Let me answer that.
Please do.
The reason, first, let me start from the beginning. The reason attorneys, some attorneys, and CPS attorneys don't go against the state, right? They act like, I can't say it on live feed, but they act like start. Oh, stop me, Monica. Stop me. They act like dogs, okay? And what they do is they don't want to go against the system because they want to be judges one day. They don't want to hurt their chances to become a judge, right? Then they become a judge. And guess what?
Then they're all tied in with CPS.
They're corrupt judges now. Why? Because they want the funding.
The Attorney General's office that is fighting against us to get our grandson is running for judge. Their counsel is running for judge. So please be careful who you vote for in Tucson. Please be careful.
You and I are going to talk about that and kind of help people, educate people about this individual. Okay. So the point here is some attorneys are afraid to go against the state, right? Because they don't want to lose their standard or their whatever they're trying to set up for themselves to be judges. Okay. That's why. So when you call an attorney and he or she says, I can't take your case. No, we can't handle cases from CPS. Or we're not going to handle cases from CPS.
It's a conflict of interest.
A conflict of interest. I hear that. Oh, it's a conflict of interest. Well, what's the conflict of interest? Do you know the wife? Do you know the judge? What conflict? What is the conflict here? You're an attorney. You became an attorney to serve the public. The people are paying for your service. But it's a conflict of interest? Explain that to me. But the court-appointed attorney, I understand why they're scumbags. I understand because they're scumbags, all of them. I do not believe, and if Mr. Davis was here tonight, he will disagree with me, but it's okay. I do not believe that CPS attorneys, court-appointed attorneys, have anyone that actually has morals. Not one in the CPS courthouse, not one attorney have any remorse or any consideration of anything good.
I think they collaborate with CPS.
They work with
collaborate.
CPS. They work with CPS. They go out together. They go drinking together. Social workers and court-appointed attorneys, they go to holiday parties together. They're tight.
They drink from the same coffee pot.
They drink from the same coffee pot or drink from the same toilet hole. Who knows? You know, to me, I think it's the same toilet hole. That's where they drink from. You know, even, look, Carissa, 100% Georgette, we've discussed it 100 correct. Because her and I discussed this before. They drink from the same dirty water. They have lunches together. You're right, Ryan. They do. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it with my own eyes. Judges also go out with them.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, judges also go out with them. So people don't understand that it's really connected in a way where you don't have a chance. How are you going to lie under oath? How is it? How is a social worker going to lie under oath and get promoted?
And not be held accountable for lying under oath.
Yeah.
To the judge. To the judge.
But bring any one of us to the judge under oath. We will be prisoned.
For perjury.
firefighter can commit perjury, and he or she will not be arrested because they have a title. It's sad. It's very, very, very sad.
It is very sad. It's very sad.
And that's why people are angry. And that's why people, like when you talk to people on the phone, they're so angry they take it out on you. They're so angry they don't know where to put their anger at, or who to put their anger at. They're so angry that they don't have a voice. They're so angry their kids don't have a voice. And where are you, government? Where? Other than play golf, eat caviar and drink champagne and buy a $15,000 refrigerator? Where are you? Where are you?
When our children are being stolen,
Exactly.
captured, hunted like prey.
Yeah, I saw like Nancy Pelosi one time. She was showing her refrigerator, and it was like what, $15,000, some shit like that, was like on TV, and she was bragging about how expensive her refrigerator is. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
How many children have paid for that refrigerator?
Exactly. How many children paid for your refrigerator? Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing in our system or our government makes any sense. Not damn thing they do. All politicians are full of crap. All of them. Because if you have the common sense and the standards of taking the stand and to fight, to actually stand up for what is right, we would not be fighting for our kids. Nancy Schaefer, God rest her soul, she was a senator for Georgia. We need more of Nancy Schaefer, but they killed her. Right?
They did. They did.
Killed her. They killed her. They killed Nancy Schaefer. And they tried to say her husband did. Okay?
She was my hero.
Yeah. And you know what's so sad is because she exposed the system. She lost her seat in the Senate because she exposed the system for who they are. And that's why a lot of people are afraid to come up and speak. But you guys are cowards. You politicians who are afraid to stand up for what is right, you're nothing but cowards. And you do not deserve my vote.
Even if just one would stand up and say, this, we have to have reform. But it's going to take we the people organizing and standing up and fighting for our children ourselves. We're going to have to organize. We're going to have to get mad about this. We're going to have to say no more. No more of this. No more taking our children. No more making your money on the backs of our kids. Yeah. It's not right. It's not okay. And frankly, I'm sick of it.
Exactly. This has nothing to do with Republicans or Democrats. I want to make that very clear. Both parties are horrible because both parties need to stand up. Okay? We all need to stand up. Nancy Schaefer is the only one that had the balls to do it.
Every politician that's complicit is just as guilty as CPS, in my opinion.
Exactly.
If you don't do something, if you're not part of the solution, you're the problem.
Exactly. But politician wants their vote. See, politicians want their vote. Judges want their vote because they also have the right to vote, unfortunately. Okay? So who are they going to vote for? They're going to vote for the right person that will back their up. That's what people don't understand. We need to vote. Vote them out and vote. And when you vote, really do your research about who you're voting for.
Yes, do.
Get your ego out of your butt and do the research. Don't care about if they're Democratic or Republican. Vote for the right person.
And remember, the Attorney General's office is the legal end of CPS. And if you go to court and fight CPS. It's going to be your Attorney General's office that's going to be defending CPS in court. I've
Exactly.
experienced it. I've seen it. I know
Attorney
it.
General.
So
The
be careful
Attorney
who you vote for.
General. Exactly. 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 So it's enough is enough. This shit has been going on for way too long. They've been getting away with all this way too long. And now, because of what happened to Nancy Schaefer, everybody's like, oh, okay, well, we're going to silence you. No, this is not right.
There's too many of us. There's too many of us that are fed up with it. That
Exactly.
it's time for a change. It's time for change.
This is ridiculous. This is freaking ridiculous. That even attorneys, other attorneys, I called the law office in Texas. Okay. We have attorney Matthew Harris. He came on one of Vincent's shows, and I really like him. But he's in Lubbock, Texas. So a lot of the calls I get, they're in Houston or some other places in Texas, right? But he's too far away from them. He wants, he can only take cases that's close. So
Right.
I asked him, I said, Matthew, I said, who else do you know in Texas? Who else do you know in Texas that can take cases? He said, Georgette, I tried.
Wow.
Matthew Harris is a great attorney. Great, great attorney. However, he doesn't take cases from all over Texas. So I've been asking people, and every attorney I call, they don't want to take a case. Because of what? Conflict of interest, conflict of interest, conflict of interest, conflict of interest. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. And then people are like, okay, well, we want to hire an attorney. But every attorney does their case differently. Mr. Davis uses strategy to fight a case. Other attorneys don't understand the strategy he uses. So the strategy that an attorney uses is a lot more complex, right? So there's a lot more deeper than just going to court and saying my client is innocent. A lot deeper than that. So, of course, his retainer is going to be higher than other attorneys, a little bit higher, right? But we all get what we pay for. We all do. However, if the government wants to help those, the people that can't afford an attorney, and all they have to settle with is a court pretender, shame on you. Shame on you, because you're setting those people up to fail from day one. Shame on you that you offer help, but you're offering fake help. It's fake. It's not even real. You understand what I'm saying, Monica? It's not real.
I've never seen someone with a court-appointed attorney actually win a case. I'm sorry, I just haven't.
And you know what's so sad? Nobody cares. No one cares. President Biden, where are you? You're our president now.
Kamala Harris, where are you? You're an attorney.
And
do
you're
something
a mother.
About it. Intervene.
And you're a mother. Where are you, sweetie? Yeah, where are you people? Exactly. They pretend to serve the public. They pretend they want to do something. They pretend they want to make a change. Where is the change? Show me.
It's all for show.
It's all for show.
It's a dog and pony show.
What this Sewa? How do you pronounce that name? SEW.
Siwa.
Siwa. She said, "Yeah, you ain't never lie yet." Thank you, Sewa. Yeah, but this is politicians is stupid. Rosalie said, "Community Emergency Response Team."
I like that. I'm down with that.
She's really good. She's coming up with great ideas.
Yeah.
Community Emergency Response Team. Hmm.
There is some lady online that she has started something called the Villagers, and that's where everybody that belongs to this group that she's in, they'll write letters to the judge for you, and um, attorneys and state officials. So if you go online and Google the Villagers, and get involved with that group, they can at least you can have some backup, They'll help you with writing letters. They'll flood the courthouse with phone calls about your case.
Mhm.
They do a number of things like that. It's worth checking into.
That's a good idea. That's really a good idea. But we all need to stand together, people. And I know that those social workers, the first thing they do is they act like bullies with you. And they want to intimidate you and all this. You still have rights. You have rights. You know, in the Middle East, they don't have rights. We have rights here. But unfortunately, we have people who are so corrupt. They set rules in place for you not to exercise your rights.
Oh, they'll try to squash your rights in court.
Yeah, and they will
Say you can't talk, or that you refuse to speak to the social worker. So when they got me on the stand, you refused to speak to the social worker, didn't you? And I said, yes, that was my constitutional right. I said, we do have constitutional rights. Still,
exactly.
don't we?
They don't like you when you say constitutional rights. They actually will discipline you for saying that. They hate people saying that.
She was so mad when I said that. She stormed out of that courtroom. You should have seen her. Oh my God. She threw her papers. She just stormed by.
You
She was
probably
so
went,
mad.
damn you! What did
I
you
was just like, bye. Little me, skinny little me on the stand, you know.
I know. And they expected you to go, ooh.
To wilt. I'm not wilting. I'm not laying down for him. I
No,
hope they get me on the stand again. I'm really going to tell them what I think of him next time.
I know. That's how crazy they are. Yeah, they don't like it. That's why I told you they're narcissists, sociopathic. They don't like to be held accountable. And if you open your mouth and you expose them, guess what a narcissist does? They retaliate worse and come after you harder because you exposed them.
Yeah, like they're reading straight out of a National Enquirer magazine.
That is correct. Because, exactly. That's my point. You expose them, you're going to get yours. That's who we're dealing with.
But they don't do their research, just so you
Yeah,
know. They're not very good at doing research, because she looked like a nincompoop.
I know. Virginia said, hi, I am in Arizona. Can I get the information from the group?
You want the village? Does she want the villagers?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Can you can she contact me?
Yes, of course. You can contact Monica.
Monica Jamarco.
On Facebook. On Facebook. What's your name on Facebook?
Monica Jamarco.
Yeah. Spell Jamarco for her.
Jamarco. It was supposed to be Damarco, but I made a typo and I punched a J instead, and I didn't know how to change it, so I just left it.
Left it alone. That's okay. I already know you're not a computer. It's like, I understand. We already spoke to your son. We got it. We understand. But
yes.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
Everybody knows I'm technically challenged.
But that's okay.
Yeah, it's called the Villagers.
Okay, so Jamie Canino, she said, I need help exposing Western Massachusetts DCF office, as well as the Community for Public Counsel Service appointed attorney, right? And Judge
Patrick Seaver is a very good attorney in Massachusetts. I don't know if he does. I don't know where you are, if you're in his town, but he is a really good CPS attorney. That's all he does is fight CPS, and he's very, very good because the reason he went into law is he was in the system himself.
Okay. We need to get Patrick Seaver on our show, Monica. So maybe
Okay.
he can introduce himself also to people, and to have other help in other states. Like Mr. Davis says, you don't have to hire, we're not saying to hire one particular office. We need more lawyers to come up and say, hey, you need to help people. You need to stand up.
Like Sean McMillan too.
Yeah,
Sean
McMillan. But you already talked to, we're going to talk to Sean McMillan. You already contacted him.
I just texted him a while ago.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic attorney in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
All he does is CPS, mostly civil lawsuits. If your civil rights have been violated, which most of us have, if they took your child without a warrant, or if they're trying to squash your constitutional rights in court or whatever, you can probably have a civil lawsuit. So he's another good one. But Mr. Davis has several law offices, I think.
Mr. Davis's mind is like an encyclopedia. The codes, he knows every code.
Yeah,
I know the back of his hand. I was amazed. The code book is like, where's the camera? The code book is like this thick,
yeah,
with all codes, right? All codes, civil codes. And I'm like, how did he just popped one up, like, it's just like that.
I know what that is. That's this code, civil code, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and like other attorneys have to go to the law library and start looking up the codes. Mr. Davis is like, here you are, here you go, here it is. That's how easy it is for him.
He's been doing it for a while. He just knows it. But what I like most about him is his strategic ability. Like, he knows what they're going to do next, or what the probability is. He calculates in his brain what are they going to do next, and how am I going to stop this.
Exactly. That's how he is. Exactly. Yeah. That's how he is. And that's why he has a brilliant mind. Brilliant mind. And I'm not saying that because I work for him at all, but it's the God honest truth. His mind is so brilliant that he's the go-to guy if you have any legal question. I'm being honest. And
he does give consults. He gives consults. He gives you a free consult if you're just kind of lost. Yeah.
Consultations is free on the shows. So that's his consultations. But if you want to have one-on-one with him, then he charges for a consultation. A lot of attorneys charges for that too. But what Mr. Davis does is he does give free legal advice on his shows. Anybody can just call his radio show and ask for advice. So that's pretty big for me, because a lot of people back in the day didn't have that privilege. They didn't know anything about I'm talking about back in the day, when we were younger. People
even just talking to somebody sometimes just gives you hope to understand that there is somebody out there that cares and will work on your case, help you with your case.
Right, to give you the right advice. That is correct. And a lot of attorneys, I spoke to one of our clients. She said that a lot of attorneys that she spoke with, they don't give her the right advice. One attorney told her this. He said, oh, just go to the social worker, buy her a cup of coffee, ask her what she likes to eat for breakfast, be friends with her. So the lady did. She went to the office, San Diego. She bought the social worker a cup of coffee, right, from Starbucks or whatever. And she said, I would like to take you out for breakfast. And you know what the social worker did? She said, the parent tried to bribe me. When I asked her, who did you take that advice from? She said, an attorney.
Yeah, there will be no taking one social worker.
I would love Mr. Davis to have a show and say, yeah, take your social worker out for dinner.
No.
Have a drink with her. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. But But you have to be careful what advice you get also. Be very careful. So it's best for you to call several attorneys and do your own research. Don't just, count on that attorney. All right. So we came to an end, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me and Monica tonight. And
Thank you.
thank you, Monica, so much. And God bless you all. And I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Thank you. Good night.